What's up, folks? I want to come on for a couple minutes, tell you how I'm feeling today, how I'm feeling about the hobby. Man, it's just such an interesting space. It really is. And, I wonder if the current makeup of the hobby is exactly what we're going to have and how much longer it stays this kind of makeup. I talked about this, in a live that I did, Prism God, called the hobby multiverse, right? I think we talked about it in an episode, but you used to think, all right, this stuff that's coming in the hobby now, this reality TV shows and this breaking. That's not the hobby. The hobby is you buy some cards and you hope to collect your guy. You hope to collect that the player you like the most. Or, you collect and you hoard and you hope the guy you're collecting turns out to be the next big thing. And you and the kid down the block from you all hoard Cal Ripken cards because one day he's going to make the Hall of Fame. And when he does, those cards sure are going to go up because that's the way it works. You could pay for college with those Cal Ripken cards once he gets into the Hall of Fame. It's funny because, I like to sit here as the old man saying, get off the lawn, breakers, get off the lawn. It's, I don't think it's going anywhere. And that leaves people like me with a difficult choice. It's to find your own path in the hobby while that is out there. Find your own way to kind of still enjoy it, still be able to enjoy the cards, still be able to enjoy the community, but also kind of, I don't want to say avoid that, but yeah, it is avoid that. There are influencers out there who I respect, who I watched over the last couple of years grow into what they are now. And the ones who are breakers, I will tell you, cringe is not even the word, right? Some of the stuff you see them doing now, showing more skin, combining efforts. By the way, not just women. Those Blez guys show skin pretty often too. You want to talk about cringe? I love those guys. They know what they're doing. But, I mean, I'm not going to jump into a break whether you wear a shirt or no shirt or whatever it is. It's just, kind of not my thing. I've done it. I hate it. I have done it. I always regret doing it after the fact. But I think if we took a snapshot of some of the more popular hobby influencers now and looked at what they were doing with their content, what they were doing online 6 months or a year ago, the change it's drastic. And for the most part, not for the better. There are people who have, I guess, not gone full Simple Jack, right? I have an example. I'll give you one. Car Collector 2. And maybe it's because he's not breaking as much. You know what I mean? He's still trying to do the traditional hobby card. Go to shows, buy, sell on whatnot. Have your live, sell your cards, but not go full on breaker. I mean, maybe ultimately he'll give in and break also. I haven't seen him do too much in the way of breaking. It has obviously, I don't see him as much anymore. So I want to say it obviously has hurt his numbers, his views. I hope his shop is doing well. I hope everything's great there with him. But I don't see him, 24/7 trying to convince you that every single product that comes out is the best product that's ever come out. And I guess, I've never liked breaking. You guys have rarely saw me break. I think I broke a UFC product once. I broke a Marvel product once for, for Luca Nation guys, just almost like as a fun thing, not looking for hits. It was a 1990 Marvel box. It was, holograms were the hits, right? But you don't see me do it because I guess I don't like lying to people. And maybe that's not fair. Maybe, the breakers would say, well, who are they lying to? How are they lying? People are coming in, they know what they're getting into. They're buying into breaks to sort of, take a shot at something. They know the chances are they're not gonna get, they're not gonna get their value. But then repacks. Somebody once told me I didn't understand breaks and that I was looking at it the wrong way. And that the point of the break was that someone who can't afford to buy a full box or a full case can buy in for their favorite team. They can buy in for their favorite player. And I got that. I understood that. I just don't understand why you don't just buy the cards of your player or of your team. But I get it. There's some gamble there. You can buy in lesser than the card would cost if you get lucky. But then repacks came. And this person who tried to explain to me how I was an idiot about breaks, they were awfully quiet because people are buying into repacks like crazy, and there's no pick your own player repack, at least not yet. There's no pick your own team repack, at least not yet. But people are buying into it. And the best explanation I ever got for repacks is that people have been burned by the actual packs so badly that they don't want to throw their money down the drain. So they'd rather know that they are going to get 70% of their money back with a chance to maybe get a little bit better than 90% chance they're losing money opening wax. The conversation's interesting, right? It's about losing money. I almost was okay when I got the explanation of, breakers, people are buying in for pick your player, pick your team, because ultimately that's an end game, right? That is someone's buying their player in a break or their team in the break because that's who they collect. That's who they want. They ultimately want to have the breaker break that and give them those cards. Repacks, all this other breaking stuff, it seems like I've even talked about this myself as a great idea for these repackers. Not exactly the greatest idea in the world for the hobby or the industry. It's find a way to immediately buy those cards back from a person that has the repack. I saw a partnership announcement. I didn't read too much into it, and I will. Maybe if the guys from Courtyard want to, maybe if they hear this, Courtyard.io, I think it is. I met them I think it was at Mint. And I think they just announced, PSA sent an email out partnering with them where they were doing digital packs. And right in the email, it said something to the effect of, that in this first pack, I think you buy it for $25 and they're guaranteeing that they'll buy it back from you for $25. Think about that. It's almost like a money back guarantee on the repack, right? It's you basically it's like a free pack. Yeah, here. For a limited time, Courtyard.io is giving you a guaranteed $25 buyback offer on your first $25 starter pack purchase. So, the places that do that automatically get the buyback going. You got the hobby slot machine right there. People are buying in. They put $100 in, and they hope that if they, do well, they can get $150 out and then do it again. And if not, they can quickly cash out 75 or 50 and roll the dice again, right? It really is just as simple as that. And I don't know how that works for long-term sustainability. The fun part about it is that it may not have to. And it doesn't mean that the hobby goes away if it does or it doesn't. I hear all the time that this is the way that the hobby gets 10x'd. I couldn't disagree more. People say that this breaking, this barrier to entry, this getting people in, that is growing the hobby. I disagree. It's growing something, right? It's growing the business. It's growing industry. It's growing the amount of people who are buying into the hobby slot machine. I don't know whether or not it's growing the hobby. It's definitely not growing the hobby the way that the hobby has been for the last bunch of decades, where it's go to a store or even buy online, get some packs, open it up, build some sets, Collect your guy and buy cards that you want to own, buy cards that you want to keep. For the last couple of years, the hobby has been, let me get on TV, let me make a documentary, let me get on Netflix, let me be as brash as I can be, let me get on live, let me sell, let me make sure that I convince you that the product that is out this week is the best product, even though I swore to you that last week's product was the best product, and maybe I swore to you the week before that that week's product was the best product, and maybe even I swore to you next week's product's going to be even better. Because that's what you got to do, right? Keep churning. Anyway, I'm beating the hell out of this one. It's funny, I as a content creator, which I guess I am, right? I mean, I do at least one episode per week. I try to talk to you guys about, how I'm feeling. I bought another Type 1 photo, another Muhammad Ali one, a couple $100. I bought it in Golden. $300 maybe all in. It's a Type 1 photo of Ali and Frazier, their first fight. Ali's loss to Frazier in MSG. I thought it was really cool. It's an action shot, 6th round. It's Ali against the ropes and Frazier kind of, like ducking in his bully style. We've talked about it a bunch of times. Blue collar Frazier. I can't imagine there being a lot of pictures from there, even though obviously it was a huge star-studded event. If you remember, people couldn't get in. Frank Sinatra was there with photographer credentials. I'm sure he just put the camera around his neck and, watched the fight. I doubt he took pictures. You know what I mean? Or maybe he did. Who knows? But I haven't seen too many, Type 1 photos come from that event. And it's fun for me. I like the Ali stuff. I like Type 1 photos. And, that's one that I just bought for a couple $100. It's something I enjoy collecting. It's something I enjoy having. So I'm telling you, obviously, this because I'm not going anywhere. But as a content creator, it's interesting because nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about what I'm buying. Unless you're making the Michael Jordan hierarchy, which, there are some Jordan people out there who want to hear about how great their Jordan cards are until they're not. People want to hear about it. And I did a little experiment today. I posted a ridiculous cat video. Because the last episode I did was the least watched and the least listened to episode that I've ever done. And it was about including women's stats the same way that the Negro League stats were included. I thought it was thought-provoking. I thought it was interesting. I thought it would, spur some conversation. I tagged every single Major League Baseball female reporter that I could find from MLB Network on. Not a single one of them commented, posted, liked. Nobody. But the hobby hated it. Even my regular listeners couldn't stand it. Now I posted a cat video today. Again, just as a experiment. And that cat video, it took 4 hours to have more views than my clipped segment about the Women's League and Joanne Weaver and stats and including them. And that's been up for days. And the cat's already got more views in 4 hours. It's an interesting thing. It really is. I wonder if the kind of content people want now is yelling and screaming and talking about the one-of-ones that you can pull and the next break that you can have and what we can give away and what gimmick cards are out there and the whole deal. I'm going to keep doing my news because I kind of have to. Somebody's got to let people know pretty quickly what's going on in the space. But if I was able to spend 15 minutes like I spent today instead of 1 minute and kind of give you the news about, my take on the hobby is I think you're going to see a lot of people kind of start doing their hobby to themselves again. So that's what this was. And that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt the industry. It's going to hurt the national and shows and all that stuff. I mean, unless your show is completely based on repacks and that kind of crap, I guess you'll do fine then. But ultimately, you got to remember those repacks and all that stuff, they're based on a premise. And that premise is that the cards that are in there are going to have some kind of value. And after you cycle people long enough through these repacks of the same trash and the same garbage and the same modern junk over and over again, they will lose money. They might lose money slowly, but ultimately the repacks are just a way to bleed them dry slower. But ultimately, these people are going to lose their money. I watched an episode of the Golden. They used to call it the Golden Touch. I don't know if they even call it that anymore. King of Collectibles. I mean, he calls himself the King a million times. But I watched it, and if you watch the first couple episodes, they have the same statement that they make to everybody who comes in, whether it's the person who caught Jason Dominguez's first home run ball at Yankee Stadium, or it's the person who pulled the Victor Wembanyama 1-of-1. And Victor, according to people, is going to be the next Jordan, the next LeBron, the next Wilt, all combined, right? So you tell me, they're not giving bad advice when they tell those consigners, you have to strike while the iron is hot. You have to sell this card now. You have to sell this ball now. You have to sell this item now, because if you don't, you could be losing thousands of dollars. It's what consigners would tell anybody with those items. But think of the other side of that. If they're right, and they are, and they convince that consigner to sell that item, they then put that item up for auction. This isn't just Golden, this is anyone. They put that item up for auction and talk about how great it is. When they told the consigner they better list it now, because if they don't, it's going to be worth less. Well, what are you saying to the people who are bidding on it? Basically, what you should be saying is, why are you buying this? We convinced the seller to sell it because it's only going to be worth less in the future. Sell it. So why would someone buy it? If in 6 months or a year, it's going to be worth less. That's the modern market. That's where we are right now. And as people get into repacks and people buy these items and people continue to do the live breaking and all this fun stuff, and continue to get hurt, continue to lose money, continue to do, you're not 10xing anything. You're just going to burn people out. And like I said, bleed them out slowly. And I know I'm not the only one who thinks this, but seeing the same stuff over and over again on IG and all this, everybody converted to the Fanatics Live Kool-Aid, and everybody converted to, to ripping because that's what you have to do. I'm kind of getting tired of it. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just the old man who's telling people to get off my lawn. Who knows? The one thing I do know is I've been here before all of you. Before all you breakers and all you silly live sellers. I was here before it. I was collecting when there were only base cards. And I'll probably be here after you. After you've sucked dry all of these new collectors who are coming in now. After you have them all lose money slowly. I guess maybe we'll get our bargains on our cards again then. Who the hell knows? Anyway, guys, it was a different kind of tone. It's just what I'm feeling today. I apologize. You probably don't tune in to hear me kind of complain. But if I know, the people who listen to this and tune in for this, you probably all feeling the same thing. And sometimes it's good for you to hear kind of the angst and the frustration from me also. Because the hobby is different. And, I don't see it going away from the way it has changed, what it's morphed into anytime soon. So that just means, I guess, I have to kind of change how I navigate the space. And here's your episode. Talk to you guys soon. Take care, everybody.